Man, congratulations on all your success. I see you still doing your thing, switching the game up.
Yeah, man, this has actually been the most powerful year of my whole entire life, brother. I'm better than I've ever been.
Really? How so? Explain.
Well, I opened up a multimedia company about 4 years ago that's called A Banner Vision. You can check it out at abannervision.com. I score movies, video games. I did music for Gatorade for the World Cup, Mercedes-Benz, movies, you name it. It's like now my company is going international. So just what we're doing as far as multimedia is concerned is unprecedented for a company that's only been open for about 4 years.
Congrats. This is one thing I learned about being in hip hop is that the way you come into hip hop is not always going to be the way that you prosper. And it's important to see opportunities as they come and to change the game. Like, when we first met, I was a DJ and now I run, websites and YouTube channels. So it's very different.
Well, the thing that hopefully that we can do for the children is give them that vision early so that they won't have to catch them as they come. They can sort of control, because a lot of things that happen to us, we saw the opportunity and jumped on it. Imagine having that vision going in, some of the things and opportunities that hip hop provided for me, I wouldn't have ever dreamed that I would have been, in East Africa, maybe helping to set up the whole structure for a country. You know what I'm saying? I would have never dreamed of that, but through my experiences and through your experiences, maybe kids can see that it's an opportunity that's worth even dreaming.
Okay, so talk about this East Africa thing.
I really don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to blow the opportunity, but me along with Ravi Shelton, Shaka Zulu, Ludacris's manager, Terrence J, we had an opportunity to go to East Africa and help maybe set up structures. And it was a powerful opportunity. I don't want to go too deep into it because things are still developing, but it was amazing.
I saw an interview with you not too long ago where you talk about doing concerts around Christmas and then giving the money away. The interview that I saw was with an outlet that I think a lot of the hip hop, community isn't really familiar with. So could you tell that story over?
Well, my Heal the Hood organization started with literally me doing concerts. That's when I was a touring artist. I was on airplanes 5 days a week, nearly for 8 months. And what I did around Christmas time was, during that time, I was getting paid maybe around $20,000 a show. That's what I was bringing home. That was early. And I would take that $20,000 and basically just walk around some of the most impoverished neighborhoods in Jackson, Mississippi, and I would just give $100 bills out. I go from house to house, just knock on the door unannounced, and just give out $100 bills, and that's how Heal the Hood started. And I remember Andre Benjamin's mom telling me, "David, you can't do that. Like the IRS is gonna come and get you." And that's when Nelly's organization, because of the Heal the Hood concert that we did for Katrina, Nelly let me go under the umbrella of his non-for-profit until I was able to get my non-for-profit legal, and it's what it is now. Brother, that it literally started during Christmas time, walking around neighborhoods giving out $100 bills.
So tell me, some of the most heartfelt kind of reactions you got when you just knocked on a stranger's door and handed them some money, and walked off.
Oh man, the one thing that I try to do as a person in hip hop is just change what America has put on, especially the black men. it's like, you know, people seem to be surprised that I'm a semester and a thesis away from my master's degree, that I can debate in front of Congress and win, you know, that I can even hold a conversation. You know, I've been in a room with one of the smartest guys in the world and was able to hold conversations on my own and even bring aspects that maybe he had never thought about to the table. And I want to show people that as far as hip hop. And I think I was able to do that to show people that people are still kind. People still care about the neighborhoods. You know, it doesn't matter whether I'm a rapper or not. I'm just a person. And the fact that I happen to come from hip hop shows like this is what hip hop was built upon. It was the community. So for me to be able to bring happiness and to bring joy and to show somebody that we care, man, to have a grown man come to you and say, Banner, man, I didn't know how I was going to be able to feed my family this Christmas. Like, bruh, thank you. Like, those are the things that I remember more than anything, man. You know, I remember a lady crying and was like, dude, we didn't know what we were going to do for Christmas. Like, you know, exit the toys and all of that kind of stuff. Just electricity, water, you know what I'm saying? The small things that we take for granted. Those are the things I remember.
Yeah, and this was actually around where you lived.
Well, it wasn't just around where I live. It was everywhere. I went to the worst hoods. You know, the place that I'm from was like a lower middle class family. We it was a lower class, middle class, but it was still like when I was growing up. Like now, where I'm from is probably my street. They said had some of, you know, the most frequent or some of the worst murder cases, like my actual street now, when they did statistics on the city. But like when I was younger, it was a good place to stay. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't necessarily say my hood was like one of the worst hoods at the time in Jackson. Like it was basically lower to middle class, you know, middle class families. So, you know, the places I went were places where, you know, people were struggling to keep their water on. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't necessarily in my hood.
No, that's what's up, man. I wish more people would do that.
Well, the cool thing, bro, and the one thing that I'm going to talk to you about later on in this interview is that it's up to people like me to become successful, like super successful at being the way that I am now. See, the thing is, people will do whatever they see is successful. So if you continuously show black women housewives, then that's what they're going to want to be. We got to show them some success. And that's the reason why I started my multimedia company. If it takes me buying 250,000 copies of my new album and giving them out on the street, that's what I can afford to do, and I can do it. So it don't really matter whether, you know, society grasps onto it or not. I'm going to make it happen. Like, it's our responsibility to show these children some success, to show them some positivity, you know, to show them another way. I give you an example. A lot of kids don't even know that they can score video games. All of these producers running around after these rappers, when they have the opportunity, man, I make more money doing a Gatorade commercial than I made being on tour for 8 months, touring 5 days a week. You feel what I'm saying? Doing trailers, scoring video games. Like, people don't know that. Anywhere you hear sound, if you hear a beep on a remote control, you can make money doing that. And most people try to keep that away from their people because they want to be the only one that's making money off of it. I don't think a lot of people have the level of talent that me and my people have. So a lot of people can't compete with me even if they wanted to. So I'm not worried about that aspect of it. But you have to give other people an opportunity to live life and to be happy. I want other people to be able to score movies, to do video games, brother, to have potential to work with Fortune 500 companies in Asia, in Africa, and Germany, and all of the places that hip hop has brought to me. Like this is because of hip hop. So it is my responsibility to bring something back to hip hop to help kids who are now the age of that my children would be if I had them. You know, to have an opportunity to make some money and to thrive the way that we thrived off hip hop. That is our responsibility. It's your responsibility to do something for a DJ who probably couldn't see to the end of his fingers, to have that opportunity to do what you done. Like, that's your responsibility. You feel what I'm saying? And so that's what I try to do, is just shed some light.
As an actor, this is sort of a question that I want to, steer towards. I actually had the pleasure of interviewing John Amos the other day. He played James Evans in Good Times. And we talked about how he ended up getting killed off on the show after, I believe, 2 or 3 seasons because he just didn't want to go along with the direction that the show was going.
Although if you understand the real dynamics behind my departure from Good Times, that's probably the best example. As I said, I had 2 children on that show besides JJ, and the comedy writers, our staff writers, who were for the most part excellent, as hired and overseen by Norman Lear, were good comedy writers. But like any writer, if you've got a good comedic foil, which they had in JJ, they could put the chicken hat on him and have him say dynamite. They could coast for maybe a page, or certainly for 35 or 40 seconds, which is an eternity in television. So the more he said dynamite and the more he offered comic relief, which was needed because we were a comedy show first, the easier it was to write the script, as opposed to developing meaningful dialogue for Ralph Carter and or for Bernadette Stannis.
As a working actor, are there a lot of roles that you get that you just don't feel you could take in terms of being a man?
Oh, all the time, brother. It got to a point where one of the reasons why I stopped doing hip hop up until just recently was because I had an opportunity to go to when Get Like Me was like the #1 song in America. I got a chance to travel internationally, and I got to see the way that America was depicting black men here. And for the most part, it was rap videos. And at that time, that's when reality TV shows had just started. And like, we looked really bad. And I was a real big part of that. And I just couldn't do it no more. Like, no matter how much money people paid me at that time, I just couldn't continue to send black people's images to hell. That's one of the reasons why I started my multimedia company. And at the time, I didn't have the idea for my multimedia company, so I dove into acting. But then I started realizing most of the films that I was doing, my name was Uzi or what they always, Shorty D, and I always drove a black Escalade. I was like, damn, let me drive a green Escalade. Why I always got to drive a black Escalade and just get out of jail? Is that all black people are good for? And I told my agent I didn't want to do thug roles no more. Because it's funny, when I did Black Snake Moan, Craig Brewer told me something that I never forget. He gave me my first role. He said, David Banner, because you're black and you're over 6 feet tall, and you're not a comedian, every role that they try to get you to do is going to be a negative role. And he said, and you're dark skinned. He said, but your money, if you can hold out and be enough of a man, your money is in your smile. He said, you have one of the most amazing smiles ever. He said, if you learn to use your smile, it will take you wherever you need to go. And that's when I started smiling. And, but, bro, I had done like 6 movies in a row, bro, and I was on my way. And I said, I don't want to do no more thug roles, bro. I sat in LA for a year and barely got 2 auditions because I said I didn't want to play that role again. And what's funny about America is America Africans didn't come over here as niggas. America created niggas. Niggas were an experiment. And America has accomplished their experiment and then want to act like they don't have nothing to do with it. Ghettos were an experiment that the Nazis used on Jewish people. So even America's calling ghettos, they know what they are doing. So it's like with these movies has always been used as propaganda throughout history. Every war that America has ever used, they use cartoons, comic strips, and movies as propaganda. So to make America fear black people, they continue to spread this ignorance and hate. And the sad thing about it, hip hop has fallen prey to it. So yes, I've still to this day, I've turned down movies that I said that I did not want to do and I didn't do. Actually, I had an opportunity on several very big movies that I turned down because I just don't want to be your nigga. That's what I told him. I just don't want to be your nigga.
Can you say what movies and roles those were?
No, I can't. I would never do that. Because at the end of the day, it's their property. And one thing that you know about me, bro, I just do my own stuff. I don't care about other artists. I don't care about other people making movies. If we want to do better, then we have to do better. We can't criticize something somebody else has built. That's their prerogative.
There's a rapper named Chet Hayes. He's a white rapper who's actually the son of Tom Hanks. And he recently did some Instagram videos justifying his use of the N-word. And what we also did is we interviewed Joel Ortiz, from Slaughterhouse, and got his take on Chet Hayes using it and the word in general.
I just want to clarify one thing. Under no circumstances would I ever go up to somebody that I didn't know and just be like, hey, what's up, my nigga? It's an unspoken thing between people who are friends who understand each other.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. People probably gonna be mad at me. But if we could say it, anybody could say it to me. That's how I feel, bro. You know what I'm saying? I say that shit all day. You know what I mean? Like, as long as he didn't mean nigger, it ain't offensive to me. I'm just being honest with you. Like, that's how I feel. Like, I say it as an everyday conversation, bro. I don't mean nothing by it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't mean nothing by it. Hopefully he didn't mean nothing by it. But I ain't gonna be the guy that start waving the flag when white people say it.
You just watched that. What's your take on that?
I don't, but see again, brother, I don't, if you ask me how I feel about what people say, I'm not gonna comment on what another man says. That's his opinion. I'll tell you this, bro. I feel like any man who sits up and constantly, you can comment every now and then on what another man says and another man's opinion. That's female-like. Like, that's what women do in high school. I don't care. Because a lot of times people may not have the experiences that I have. My mom told me being a visionary is a blessing and a curse. You're blessed to see things other people are not able to see, but you're cursed to sit in it alone. Like, why would I be mad at it? These people may not have experience. A lot of these people ain't from the South. So they don't know what our people done been through. They don't know the trees that our folks done hung from, so folks cannot say these types of words. Like, so for me, I don't really care about nobody else's opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's not my place. I only care about how I feel in my people. Because in a lot of cases, bro, people haven't had the experiences that we've had. So they may not, that part don't really matter to me, V, to be honest with you. But what I will say, this is what I will say. Black people, we have okayed everything down to a point where our culture is gone. Black folks, for the most part, don't have nothing to say about hip hop or R&B. It has been taken away from us because we have okayed and shucked and jived our way all the way to just being a part of America. We have been socialized and we have integrated ourselves into nothingness. Integration was the worst thing that ever happened to black people. It was worse than slavery. Because at least in slavery, we knew what we were fighting against. Now we feel like we're a part of something that was designed to enslave us. I just say what? People can have their opinion about what they want to, but they should watch saying the word nigga around me. If you white and you say the word around me, you might have some problems, physically.
What about other races?
I put it to you like this. White people were the people that enslaved us, and they were the ones that created niggas. They created niggas, like I said before. So it's a little bit different when it comes to white people because you were the ones that enslaved us. You were the ones that created this hell that we stay in. So that's why you have the responsibility when it comes to the word niggas, your ancestors. And people always want to say that you should give up the way that you feeling about the word nigga. Well, you should give up the power that you got from slavery in America. You ain't gonna give up that, are you? You're not gonna give up that white privilege that you have that people act like don't exist. You know, and the truth is that, dude, like, what do we care about? When does it matter? See, that's the problem with just America in general. What still matters? What things that our fathers and our ancestors cared about that we still hold dear to our heart? That's what's wrong with hip hop. Hip hop don't have no fucking rules no more. We don't have no rules about nothing. There used to be rules in the dope game. You couldn't sell drugs to kids or you would die. You couldn't sell drugs to pregnant women. You would die. Now there's no rules, and our neighborhoods are out of control now. It's going to have to get to the point as grown men that you stand for something. My father told me it's not the things that you say yes to, it's the things that you say no to that make you a fucking man. We are breeding a generation of spineless fucking just go with whatever. I don't even know, zombies, dude. And these are the same people that fucking oppressed us. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it, brother. And the truth is, people can say whatever they want to about David Banner, but one thing that you're going to say is that I'm a man. And I'm a black man. I'm an African. You know, and we don't even know where we come from. And out of all the words in the English language, and I'm going to show you how much we've been socialized and how much our hard drives have been erased out of all the words in the English, and English is the operative word, out of all the words that we pick. You could call me, hey, you Converse, hey, you Chair, hey, you Vlad, hey, you Banner, hey, you whatever. We call ourselves niggas. The white man's word, the most evil, negative. We could call ourselves anything, but that's what we decide to call ourselves as descendants of Africans, of kings and queens, of gods. We could call ourselves gods, but we choose to call ourselves niggas. That's how much America has beat us down.
I was talking to John Amos, and if you remember, John Amos actually played Kunta Kinte in Roots. And one of the things that we talked about, which I feel never actually gets discussed anywhere, was that during slavery times, there were breeding farms where they actually would take large males and wide hip females and create bigger human beings.
In fact, I always had an issue with the fact that years ago, there was a very famous sportscaster. His name escapes me at the moment, but he was fired because he espoused the same theory that today's athletes were the end result of that interbreeding, which is why African Americans so dominate sports, because of the breeding that went on. And the fact, well, just from Darwin's theory, only the strongest survived. Only those that were strong enough to survive the Middle Passage actually made it to the American shores or to whichever island they were dropped off on as slave labor. The rest perished in the oceans in the Middle Passage. So when you've got a test like that of only the strong surviving, and then you breed the strongest women with the strongest men, you're obviously going to have a generation of superlative athletes.
But John Amos felt that this was actually accurate, that this was actually what happened.
What, that they breeded us? Hell yeah, they breeded us. Yes, they breeded us. Yeah, I'm a studier. That's documented history. Like, that's what I said. We were created. America acts so surprised about the way that black people act in America. You made it this way. And those people who are truly in power, they know what they did to black folks. And I'll tell you this. I'll ask you a question, brother. If you erase the... all right, now, first of all, would you agree that the human brain or that the computer, the hard drive from a computer was based off the human brain?
Yeah, probably.
Would you agree with that? Well, okay.
I would agree.
We agree. Okay. So if a person deleted the hard drive of a computer, right, and uploaded a virus, when the computer started acting crazy, would you blame the computer or the computer programmer?
Computer programmer.
Exactly. But the fact that America is in power and white people are in power, they don't have to be held responsible for what they've done. Because they own everything. Everything on this fucking earth. We can't even go back to Africa. They didn't colonize Africa. Where can you go where you can escape white supremacy? You can't. It's not possible. So the thing is, that's why it's so important for our hip hop sites and our hip hop blogs, and not just our hip hop artists. If you look at most hip hop blogs and most things that deal with hip hop, they are now used to crush the hip hop artists. I don't fucking get it. Like it doesn't build hip hop music. It doesn't build the artist. It's used to literally show every derogatory thing about their lives. And it's crazy, dude. Even Who Sampled is the feds for hip hop producers. That's where all of the sample folks go to. They don't even have to go look for artists no more. They just go on Who Sampled. Like, dude, like, we don't even notice this, dude. We're sending our children to fucking hell. And people act like they don't see it. And as long as their family is eating off of it, they don't care about the deterioration of our culture, brother. You know, and the reason why I'm able to talk about it, because I was one of the main people who were doing it. That's why I had to stop. I wasn't looking at me. I wasn't blaming you. I wasn't blaming any other artist. I was blaming me. It was my fault. So I had to change me, brother. And I'm going to help, if it's the last thing I do, change our fucking culture.
You've seen the video in Texas of the cop that slammed the black girl during the pool party?
Yep.
I have a theory when it comes to police brutality and police murders in America, and this type of thing. My theory, and you could tell me whether you agree or disagree. My theory is that it's not happening anymore this year or last year than it has happened over the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. I feel that the rate has been fairly constant, but now everybody has a video camera in their pocket. So and you have social media, which allows certain things to spread. So you now
and they're trying to pass law, and they're now trying to pass laws so you can't do that anymore too, to show you that you're right.
Okay, so go ahead. You got the gist of my statement. What's your take on that?
Policemen have always been what they are now. For the most part, I learned something, and I want you to think about this, brother. Laws in America are only what old white men did to acquire power. I'll go to something as simple as sampling. Man, these folks have been stealing our culture ever since we came off of them boats. They've been sampling our culture, taking songs verbatim, and rock and roll groups using them. But now we're doing the same things that they're doing. Oh, now it's a crime. They've been putting black folks in jail over weed for how many years? Now since the American government sees a way that they can tax it and they can make money, and older white men can make money off of weed, now it's legal without letting black people out of jail. It's always been like that. They have always been beating our ass. The system is not broke. The system is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. The original job for a policeman was to catch escaped slaves and protect the property of slave owners. That was the original job for the policeman. And it has not changed. If you look at all of these Ku Klux Klan members in these pictures, those were the mayors and the lawyers and the policemen of these small towns. Like, it has not changed, brother. And what's crazy is, again, like I told you, because we don't have any power, and I hate the word reverse racism, because in order for you to be a racist, you must first of all have power. And you must have the power to stop somebody or inhibit somebody from doing something, living somewhere, having a job. We don't have that kind of power in America. Tell me something that a black person could stop a white person from doing that would affect a group of white people. Nothing. You don't want to come to our clubs? We're not signing artists. We're not signing the checks. That's universal. Come on, dude. So I'm saying that, like, the policemen are doing exactly what they have always done. Serve and protect our ass. They serve our ass and protect and protect the slave owner stuff. They have constantly been serving our ass. Because what happened was they used to could lynch us and not have to worry about repercussions. And then when they stopped having the ability to lynch us, then they lynched us legally. They became police officers. This stuff ain't never stopped. You know, and the difference between me and other people, I can show you history. I can pull up facts. I can show you court docs. I study. So this is not emotional. Cops have been, and I'm going to show you something. If you go and pull up the documents that come from the United States government, white kids commit the same amount of crimes, if not more. They're not dying. Black cops ain't making a mistake in killing white kids. You know what I'm saying? That's not happening. So while there are always all of these mistakes when it comes to black kids, that's what they want to do. The only way you're going to stop police brutality is if those police lives are threatened, or if something is going to happen to their children, or something is going to happen to their jobs, their money, their lives. I bet you if one of those cops felt like something was going to happen to them if they killed a black kid, if the same thing was going to happen to their lives, it would not happen. A black cop knows if he shoots an innocent white kid, he is going to jail forever. And if he doesn't go to jail forever, a group of white men are going to come and pull him out of his house. You know it. If something happens in a Russian neighborhood, Russians handle that. If something happens in an Asian community, Asians handle that. As soon as black people start handling their own business and do the same thing that they do, if somebody comes to your neighborhood and take your dope, you're going to go to their house. If a black person kills your brother or your sister, you going to their house. And see the difference between when blacks kill blacks, because everybody always talking about black on black crime. Well, if a black kill a black, well, you got one black person and the other black person going to jail. If a white person kills a black person 9 times out of 10, he won't serve no time. And you can, and there are always exceptions to the rule, but people know that. I want to tell people something. I have a new album that's called The God Box. The God Box is going to be one of the best hip hop albums of all time. I had a rapper listen to my album who's from the South. He's one of the top hip hop artists out today. He said, Banner, no matter what you do, hip hop is not going to give it to you. He said it's one of the best albums I ever heard in my whole entire life. Not just in recent hip hop history, but in hip hop period. He said they're not going to give it to you because you're from the South and you're humble. Well, this time I'm going to tell people, whatever album is your favorite album, pick whatever number. If it's number 1, I'll put my number 1 against it. If it's number 2, I'll put my number 2 against it. You don't even have to pick singles. See, one of the things is that all of the great hip hop artists, and I'll give you an example. Big Crit, Mount Olympus came out and hip hop act like that shit didn't happen. Act like it didn't happen. That was one of the dopest songs I ever heard in my life. They act like they act like that young man is not changing music because he's from Mississippi and because he's from the South and he's humble. But I ain't gonna let the God Box get wasted. I'm gonna see what's hip hop reason for not giving it to me. Because every time somebody from the South does something, they act like it's like when San Antonio wins the championship. David Banner smashed the hip hop cipher and folks act like they don't see that. Yeah, it's me. I ain't going nowhere. The God Box is one of the best hip hop albums, period. And after it comes out, I never say that again. It's gonna be up to y'all to do it. And hip hop say they want something better, well, it's here. And if you don't take it now, it's your fault. And I mean hip hop as a whole. Because there's great hip hop artists out here that's doing stuff, but we don't support them. If hip hoppers ain't acting like monkeys, then people don't fucking support them. And I'm tired of that, dude. What's going on in hip hop right now is embarrassing, dude. And the thing is, it's nothing as a whole wrong with hip hop. Hip hop just needs some fucking balance. Hip hop don't need to be all positive. It don't need to be all negative, but we need to control the images. We're going to have to start setting some rules and some criterias, and we're going to have to start holding people accountable to it. We're going to have to start going and knock on people's doors. You say you hip hop, all right, let me check your credentials. If you say you hip hop, let me see what you're doing for the hip hop community. And I don't mean the rappers, I mean the people who's consuming hip hop. What are you doing? If you're a hip hop clothing line, what are you doing for the community? If you for hip hop, then why were you not in Ferguson? If you're a hip hop blog site, why were you not in Baltimore? Fox Network was there, making sure that what they wanted to do and the way that they wanted to make black people look or hip hop look as a whole, they were there. Where were the hip hop blog sites to defend hip hoppers and young people? Everybody in hip hop say they from the hood, but when the hood needs them, they're nowhere to be found. And it's time for people to start holding them accountable for it, dude. I'm tired, dude. Our kids are dying. Little black girls are getting beat. Where all the gangsters at when it comes to that? You know what I'm saying? Zimmerman still walking around. Where all the people who are showing hip hop when it comes to that? I don't get it, dog. I just don't get it, homie.
Oh, one of the things that you mentioned that kind of struck me was, I think it was on a Sway interview, that you said when Eric Garner was getting choked out, the whole community just sat there and watched it happen.
Man, listen, let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you why I don't believe there are no good cops. There are no good cops because one of my best homies is a cop, and he told me something. I never forget this. He said, Banner, every cop knows who the bad cops are. And if all this law shit that America talks about is real, if anybody breaks the law, they are supposed to be held accountable. And then what policemen want to say, well, it's no different than what y'all talk about in the hood with the no snitch policy. No, it's not, because we're not being paid. No, it's not, because we don't stand under a law or creed that actually crucifies other people based on that creed. And because you are trained to know and do better. So it's not the same. You're not regular. You have that badge on. You're getting paid by our money. So the truth is, if there are really good cops, you know who the bad cops are, do something about it. And if you don't do something about it, then you're a coward. Because you'll beat our ass. If we have some dope, you'll take our ass to jail. They're acting like black kids are not human. If that was a white kid in any of those situations, America would have shut down, and they know it. I asked the person one time, if Trayvon Martin was white, would this whole situation been different? And he told me, David Banner, yes. And that shows you where America is, brother. My single with Big Crit is coming out June 20th. Make sure everybody goes to iTunes and pick it up. If you support David Banner or you hate David Banner, hit me up on Twitter, tell me about it, @TheRealBanner. And if you hate me, come with some facts. Let's talk about it. Let's debate.
On the album, you said Big Crit is on it. Who else is on it?
It's a lot of great people on it, brother. I just concentrate on the God box. It ain't about me. It ain't about none of the artists on it. It's about the movement. It's about making hip hop better. It's just the God box. Actually, my name ain't even on my album cover.
Really?
It's just the God box. That's what people concentrate on, the God box.
This situation, Diddy's a multimillionaire. His son has been going to that school for a few years now. Never heard of any situations. Clearly something happened where Diddy felt his manhood was being disrespected, or he was in some sort of danger.
A motherfucker in this day and age will do anything if they feel like it's gonna go viral. You know what I mean? If motherfuckers is gonna be talking about it, shit, I'll do whatever.